What did all of this have to do with her family? The deeper she dug, the more tangled everything became, and her heart pounded with the terrifying suspicion that this wasn't just a conspiracy involving corrupt businessmen. It was personal. Noah's eyelids fluttered. Slowly, his eyes opened, heavy with the weight of everything that had happened. The gunshot wound was still raw, but his breath came easier now. Lena, his voice was hoarse. Did we get it? She nodded. Yeah. We got it. For a moment, there was a small flicker of relief in his eyes, before his face darkened again. Lena, it's not just them. It's bigger than you think. Her pulse quickened. What do you mean? Noah's hand reached for hers, trembling. There's someone you don't know. Someone close to you. Someone who's been pulling the strings. Your mother, she's involved. Lena felt her breath catch in her throat. My mom, she whispered. How? What? What are you talking about? Noah's gaze was distant, haunted. I couldn't put the pieces together at first. But when we were investigating the money trails, there was one name that kept showing up, your mother's. Lena recoiled. No, that's not possible. But Noah didn't look away. His voice was steady now, with a painful certainty. She's been part of the operation for years. I saw her name on documents connected to everything, the trafficking, the blackmail, the manipulation. Your family's name is tied to all of it. Lena staggered back, her mind reeling. Her mother? The same woman who had always been the picture of grace and poise? The one who had made sure Lena's life was as perfect as it could be? How could she? Lena gasped. How could she be part of something like this? I don't know, but I know she's hiding something. You have to confront her, Lena. You have to find out the truth. Lena stood, shaking, unable to process the words. I don't even know where to begin. Everything I thought I knew is a lie. No, Noah said, his voice growing firm despite his injury. It's not a lie. You're not alone in this anymore. We're in this together. As Lena sat back down beside him, her mind raced through memories, every conversation with her mother, every family gathering, every moment that now felt like it had been a cover for something darker. But even as the weight of the truth pressed down on her chest, a chilling realization washed over her. If her mother was really involved, there were far more dangerous people out there than she could imagine. Suddenly, the door to the room creaked open, and Lena's heart skipped. She didn't even need to look to know who it was. Her mother. Lena, her mother's voice was tight, strained. We need to talk. Lena stood, bracing herself. Her heart raced, but this time it wasn't just fear. It was anger at the years of lies, of secrets. She had to know the truth. Why, Mom? Lena asked, her voice shaking. Why didn't you tell me? Her mother's face faltered for just a moment, and then she stepped into the room, closing the door softly behind her. She looked at Noah, who had turned his head toward her, but didn't speak. I never wanted you to be involved in this, her mother said, her voice a mixture of guilt and defiance. But there's no turning back now, Lena. They know everything. Lena's eyes narrowed. Who? Who knows everything? Her mother hesitated before replying, her voice barely above a whisper. The people we've been protecting you from, they've been watching you. Watching us all. Lena's stomach dropped. What are you talking about? They will stop at nothing to get what they want. And if we don't give them what they need, it's over for all of us. Her mother's gaze shifted to the window, like she was seeing something Lena couldn't. Lena grabbed her arm, desperation flooding her chest. Tell me the truth. Now. Her mother exhaled, defeated. They're the ones behind the trafficking. They used you. Used all of us. And I did everything I could to keep you safe, to keep you away from this world. But now, it's too late. They have your name, your face. They know everything. And if you don't give them what they want, her voice trailed off. Lena's heart pounded in her chest. What do they want? What have I done? Her mother's eyes welled with tears. It's not you, Lena. It's the flash drive. The one Noah has. Noah? Lena asked, glancing back at him, but his face was unreadable. Her mother nodded. It's connected to the people who ruined our lives. And now, they're coming for you. They won't stop until they have it all. Lena felt a cold chill creep through her. What's on it? Her mother's voice cracked. It's not just documents or files. It's evidence of what they've done, what they're still doing. And if it falls into the wrong hands? Lena stood still, her mind swirling. So what do we do? Her mother turned toward the door, her face pale. We don't have a choice, Lena. You have to destroy it. But before Lena could react, the sound of a distant engine broke the tension in the room. A car, too close, coming fast. Her mother looked back, eyes wide with fear. They're here. And in that moment, Lena realized the full scope of the nightmare she had stumbled into. The truth was more dangerous than she could have ever imagined. Not just for her, but for everyone she loved. As the door slammed open and dark figures flooded into the room, Lena made one last decision. She wasn't going to run anymore. She was going to fight. The door slammed open with such force that Lena stumbled back, her breath caught in her throat. Her heart raced, and her pulse thundered in her ears as dark figures flooded the room. She didn't recognize them, but the cold, calculated look in their eyes told her everything she needed to know. They weren't just here for the flash drive. They were here for her. Her mother stood frozen beside her, her face pale with fear. Lena, get the drive, now, she hissed, her voice strained. Lena's gaze darted toward the corner of the room, where Noah lay unconscious, the faint beeping of the monitor still marking the fragile rhythm of his life. She had to act fast. They couldn't let them get to the flash drive. But before she could move, one of the men stepped forward, tall, broad-shouldered, with eyes as cold as steel. His presence was overwhelming, like a predator stalking its prey. Where is it? He demanded, his voice rough. Lena's stomach churned. The flash drive was in her bag, hidden deep inside, but she wasn't about to hand it over without a fight. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, her voice surprisingly steady despite the fear coiling inside her. The man's eyes narrowed, and he took a step closer. His hand hovered near his side, where a gun was tucked into his belt. Don't play games. We know you have it. Lena's mind raced. She had to buy time. She had to protect Noah. I don't have it, she said, her voice growing firmer, though every word felt like a lie. Her mother stepped forward, her eyes desperate. Lena, don't. But before she could finish, the man grabbed her mother by the arm, twisting it behind her back, forcing her to her knees. I don't think you're in a position to lie, he growled. Lena's heart dropped into her stomach. Her mother's gasp echoed through the room. She couldn't let them hurt her. She couldn't let them take her mother or Noah. In a split second, everything inside Lena shifted. This wasn't just about survival anymore. This was about justice. About taking control. With a swift motion, Lena grabbed the nearest object she could find, a glass vase sitting on a nearby table. Without hesitation, she swung it toward the man's head. The vase shattered on impact, sending shards flying. The man staggered back, momentarily stunned, and Lena seized the opportunity. She bolted for the door, her mind spinning. She had to get the drive, she had to protect Noah. But as she reached for the door, another figure appeared from the shadows, blocking her path. Where do you think you're going? He sneered, his eyes glinting with menace. Lena's mind raced, but before she could react, the man lunged toward her. Suddenly, a shot rang out, and the man's body crumpled to the floor, the life draining from his eyes. Lena's heart skipped a beat. She didn't know where the shot had come from, but the relief that washed over her was instant. she wasn't alone. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw Noah, or rather, Noah's figure, standing at the doorway, leaning heavily against the frame for support. The gun in his hand was still smoking. "Get out of here," Noah rasped, his voice rough but determined. "I'll handle this." Lena's mouth went dry as she realized the weight of his words. He was awake. He was alive. But the price of that survival? She couldn't be sure. "Are you okay?" Lena whispered, her voice trembling with the sheer relief of seeing him standing there. "Not yet," Noah said, his voice hoarse. "But I will be." In a blur, they both rushed to the door. Lena grabbed the flash drive from her bag, clutching it tightly to her chest as if it were the only thing keeping her tethered to the reality they were about to face. Noah stumbled behind her, his wound still fresh and painful, but the fire in his eyes was undeniable. He was no longer the helpless man who had been lying in the hospital bed. He was a fighter. Together, they made their way into the hallway, the sounds of chaos echoing behind them. The gunshots, the footsteps, the cries, it was all too much, too fast, too dangerous. But they couldn't stop now. They couldn't let the truth slip through their fingers. "Noah," Lena whispered, her heart pounding. "What are we going to do?" Noah's gaze was steely. "We finish this. We get the answers. We take them down." As they moved through the house, Lena felt the weight of the situation pressing in on her. She didn't know how long they had before the others would arrive, but she did know one thing: the truth had to come out. And she wasn't going to let them get away with it. They reached the stairs, and as they ascended to the upper floor, Lena's mind raced with all the possibilities. The flash drive held the answers, but who could they trust? How much of what they knew was real? Who could they rely on in this maze of lies and betrayal? When they reached the top, Lena turned to Noah. "You need to rest. I'll take care of this." But Noah shook his head, grabbing her hand. "You're not doing this alone." Lena's heart twisted in her chest. She wasn't alone anymore. But that didn't mean it was going to be easy. The final confrontation was about to begin. And when the truth finally came crashing down, it would tear everything apart. But they had no choice. They had to see this through. As Lena and Noah made their way through the crumbling chaos of their home, it became clear, the nightmare was far from over. Every shadow seemed to hide another betrayal, every footstep echoed like a countdown to the final reckoning. But even with the weight of what they were about to face, they had come this far, and neither was willing to back down. They reached the room where it all started, where the flash drive, the key to unraveling everything, was hidden in plain sight. But as Lena entered the room, her eyes caught sight of something, or someone, she hadn't expected. Standing by the window, with his back to her, was Thomas, her husband. But the look on his face was one she had never seen before. It was cold. Empty. Almost calculating. "Noah, stay back," Lena whispered, but her voice caught in her throat. The man she had once trusted, the man she had loved, wasn't the person she thought he was. Noah's hand tightened on her wrist. "We need answers, Lena." Thomas turned slowly, as if he had been expecting them. His eyes locked onto Lena's, and for the first time, she saw the truth in them. The truth she had refused to acknowledge for so long. "Lena," Thomas began, his voice eerily calm, "I never wanted you to find out like this." The air thickened with tension. Lena's hands trembled, the flash drive clutched tightly in her grip. "What are you talking about?" Thomas took a step closer. "I didn't just hire those men to find you. I didn't just protect my secrets because I was scared. I did it because I had no other choice. You weren't meant to see what you saw." Lena felt the world tilt beneath her feet. She hadn't realized it until then, but the truth was finally laid bare before her. All the lies, the manipulations, and the games had been for nothing but his own survival. The survival of a man who had built his life on deceit. "I did it for us," Thomas continued, his voice breaking, as if he truly believed the lies he was telling himself. I thought if I could protect you from the truth, if I could shield you from what was coming, we could have a life together. Lena shook her head in disbelief. How could you? Noah stepped forward, his voice a low growl. This ends now. The games, the lies, they stop here. But Thomas's eyes flicked to the window, where another figure was waiting, watching, his silhouette barely visible in the darkness. It wasn't just Thomas who had been pulling the strings all along. The truth was far worse than they could have imagined. Noah, Lena, Thomas said softly, there's something you don't understand. You've always been a pawn in a much larger game. In that moment, Lena realized the depth of her mistake. Everything, her trust in him, her belief in their life together, had been a carefully constructed lie. Thomas wasn't just hiding the truth. He had been the architect of this entire nightmare, pulling the strings from the shadows. The air in the room grew thick with tension as the final pieces of the puzzle fell into place. The sound of sirens could be heard in the distance, but Lena knew it was too late. The damage had already been done. The cost of the truth was far too high. Thomas took one last step toward her, his expression softening, almost regretful. I'm sorry, Lena. But this is the price we pay. And as the world around her crumbled, Lena understood, some truths are too dark to survive. Some battles come at too high a cost. And in the end, the price was paid. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Have a nice day.